Well, if you've watched the series, in my opinion, Tampa has outplayed the Toronto Maple Leafs in every game except game 2. Yep. They've been the better team in every game.
They have, Bob, but they don't have as many weapons as they've had in the past.
No, I don't disagree.
The magical things haven't happened for them that we've seen. Victor Hedman missed a game. He's probably playing 3 to 4 minutes less a night. No Ryan McDonough has really hurt them. Chernak obviously playing less than 10 minutes in the series has crushed them a bit. A lot of things have gone wrong from Tampa, and yet here they are, and yet we're not willing to say, at least nobody has said, oh, forget it, it's over. Toronto's got this.
Well, I've been saying it for a few games, but I've been saying it for a few games, Brian, and I've been wrong every time.
Well, say it again then. And if you're wrong,
I am. I think the Maple Leafs go into Tampa and win on Saturday night. I really do.
I think it's
why
here.
Why do you
because
think
of everything? Well, because of everything I'm just saying.
I think the Maple Leafs forwards are deeper. I think that the defense. I think that the pressure on Victor Hedman. The Maple Leafs. Both of you guys played at elite levels. We know that Brian's played in the NHL. I haven't, but momentum is such a key thing in these series and in each of these games. And for instance, in Game 5, the Maple Leafs score, and if they're able to survive the next 2 or 3 minutes, you can sense the momentum changing, and they can't. They can't survive it. And that the key goal wasn't the winning goal or the empty. The key goal was that first goal right after the Leafs took the lead. And then you went, oh, here we go again. Oh my God.
And that's exactly what happened.
That's right.
Here we go again.
But you have to think at a certain point that this group of guys, they're not kids anymore. They're veterans. They can manage this and they can get through it. And they can grow and learn from it. You have to think that at some point, Bob.
Why? There's no history that suggests that. In fact,
as
we all know, the history suggests the opposite.
It takes teams
11 games they've lost, John, when they were in elimination.
And I know it's this core. I know it's this core of guys. I know.
That was quite a Stuart Smalley moment diatribe that you just had right there. By golly. They're good enough. They're old enough. They can do it. I mean, it's like you're saying that they can pull it up. They are a good team.
They're a great team.
They are.
They're a great year.
Yeah, and they're more physical, and they are deeper. But yet
they are kinder.
But they are kinder, right? But damn it, you know what? They of course they could win tomorrow night, but I think Toronto still wins the series no matter what. I do. I think, even if they lose game 6, I think they win in 7. But would it surprise me if Tampa came out with one more? We are one of the beasts, so to speak, proud moment and pull it off at home. I think they can handle the home pressure. They've handled it before. I think it is tougher on other teams that haven't. Like I go back to the Seattle tonight. It's going to be fun, right? It's going to be crazy in Seattle, Colorado. But can they handle that expectation of playing at Climate Pledge in front of them and all the, oh my God, we have to pull it off. The Devils didn't handle it well the first 2 games. They did handle it well in Game 5.
Well, I'm praying for Game 7s in both those series personally. I believe Toronto does win, but I want to see them under the bright lights in Toronto, Game 7, trying not to lose their 13th elimination game in a row. That to me would be magnificent.
Can you imagine the angst? Can you imagine? Because and not only that, the angst at home. They lost in the 7th game against Montreal with no people in the building, but it was still a 7th game. Yep. They lost the 7th game to Tampa last year. I mean, the angst. Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if on Sunday morning. And we know the series is 3-3. I'm not sure I'm leaving my house because this town, if you look
going
up,
to get coffees for your wife. Don't lie to me. You're going to get coffees for your wife. I know.
A giant black cloud over the city of Toronto would be, I mean,
I think there's one now. I think there's a whole boatload of fans right now who are scared to death of what will happen in this series. Maybe there was some false optimism up 3-1, but there's no false optimism now. If you watched last night's game, I don't know how you think the Maple Leafs win this series.
I think you're right, Bob, about the fans. But I got to tell you, as a player, if I could just have one wish right now, it wouldn't be to be Warren Buffett or Billy. It would be to play in a Game 7 against Tampa for winner take all. Your reputation on the line, like you got to get up and love that. That is like the only thing I miss about playing, competitive sports. I want to get up and have a chance to take a shot at it.
Yeah, but you never had the streak of failure that the Toronto Maple Leafs have had. You have to admit that. And I think that overrides any level of optimism is the fear that, here we go again. And it's, the core group is still the same. It's the same guys, same 4, 5, 6 guys.
Yeah. Let me ask you that, Brian, let me ask you this. When you do get into an elimination game, is it the desire to win or the fear of losing that drives you?
You got to find guys that love to win, but you got to find guys that hate to lose. It's a very common phrase that we talk about players about a lot of times. And Billy understands this because I see him nodding his head. And obviously I know he understands it from his experiences as a player. It's not easy to do. Everybody loves winning. You can start with that, but not everybody hates losing.
Right.
Too many people can accept it as okay. And, like when I look at Boston, Nick Foligno is not the player he used to be, right? But he hates losing. I just know, you just can see it in him, just everything he does. There's certain guys that exude that. It's important that your leaders have that. If there was one weakness for Toronto, I know there's guys in there, Mark Giordano. I know there's veteran players in there.
I think Ryan O'Reilly has addressed that a little bit. I think Ryan O'Reilly hates to lose.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Are those guys going to grab that team by the throat and say, it's not happening on my watch, fellas? Jump on and let's go.
Yeah.
Can Mark do that at this stage in his career? I think he's incredibly respected, but there has to be an element of capability. You can bring in all the veteran players, and we could put Zdeno Chara in there, who's a great leader, as Billy knows, and he wouldn't be able to influence it. Ryan O'Reilly has a chance to. Austin Matthews hasn't shown us that he could do that. He's certainly shown us that he's incredible. Mitch Marner has shown us everything and anything except that he can do that. He's leading the playoffs in points. We've seen him when he's been a really, under himself level player in the playoffs. He's experienced it all. But can you do that when the chips are down? Do the Toronto Maple Leafs have that? This is, if I was a player on Tampa, this is what I would be talking about. These guys don't have it when they need it. They don't have what it takes to do what we've done.
I think you're right.
They don't have it. Those are the conversations that go on. And the guys that get through that on the other side are the guys that understand it. They wake up that morning with a smile on their face, and they know that they're going to find success.
That sounds like Corey Perry to me, but
yeah, exactly. I was just thinking Corey Perry and Pat Maroon. Those two guys. I was thinking those two guys. Look, I really respected and appreciated that move, that getting Ryan O'Reilly to the Leafs. I did. That was a fantastic trade. Couldn't have. I mean, the broken finger, awful timing, because it's hard enough to change culture in the matter of, even over a course of a season. I mean, but you can do it. You build, but to do it in a matter of 6 weeks, but then 4 of those 6 weeks, that guy who's a culture changerer, that's not proper term, but a guy who can change the culture, is out. Even though he's around the guys, it's so different than being on the bench with them, being in the room with them, all that stuff. And I'm not saying this would be totally different, but I do think the Leafs would have a little bit more of that, what Brian is talking about, if Ryan O'Reilly had been there. And, that whole time. And by the way, if you give him a full year with that team, I have that much respect for Ryan O'Reilly's fortitude, attitude, determination, desire, or disdain for losing. I think he changes some of that culture. And the other thing, in the last season, you see when you have leaders like that around the team, and I see it with a guy like Patrice Bergeron, we saw it with Chara before, they kind of help filter out those other guys or bring those other guys in to this is how we do things here, and this is how it's going to be, and this is what we hate. We hate losing. We hate doing things the wrong way, etc. They either filter those guys out or they help bring them into the fold if that player is willing to do it, but it takes time. And the Leafs are trying to do it in a matter of literally 6 weeks after they acquired a guy like O'Reilly.